Hey tricksters, welcome back to the channel. With Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Indonesia, Malaysia, Kuwait, Egypt, probably China, and 6 other countries banning Pixar's newest flick, Lightyear, over a same-sex kiss. It's a kiss, guys. Chill the fuck out. It's more important than ever to support queer content, so please go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment to your favorite queer content creators here on YouTube. That way you show your love during this Pride Month. And speaking of showing our pride, Vance, who appears in this video, and I have a little photo shoot after filming this video where we actually drop the towels. So if you want to see that content, head on over to our OnlyFans pages, linked below. Before we begin, I also need to address the current state of monkeypox. As we know, gay men have endured decades of stigma against HIV and AIDS, and in order to prevent further stigmatization of the community through the spread of monkeypox, Steamworks Toronto is spearheading vaccination clinics on site to spread awareness and to protect its employees and patrons. I applaud Steamworks for the initiative to get ahead of the problem. That messaging is important because it's Pride here in Toronto, and you know what that means? That means sex. It's a lot of sex. It's sex, 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 sex. Hot foreigners flooding our city with their hotness. You see the wandering eyes and the exposed skin everywhere. It's on the streets, at the parties, it's in the parade, and especially in the overcrowded bathhouses. Most of Pride weekend in Toronto sees a line snaking around the building to get into Steamworks. Horny men from all walks of life anxiously wait in line for their chance to roam the dark corridors of the famed sex club in a towel. For many, it's their first time. For others, it's the only time of year that they allow themselves the freedom to get as slutty as they want. The number of people who have no clue how to navigate the bathhouse is really high. Like, I have to make this video to let people know how to behave in a place like this. In this video, we'll be on location in Steamworks Toronto to highlight the top etiquette rules to follow at your next bathhouse visit. We'll look at how to approach someone you like, how to politely reject somebody you don't, and how to read some basic bathhouse signs. If you follow this advice, you will be the hit of the tubs, or at least you won't get punched in the face. Now let's get to it. First, and most importantly, let's look at how to approach somebody that you're interested in. Because without this crucial knowledge, you're just some guy in a towel sitting in the dark by yourself. Now, let's say you're roaming the halls, you're taking in the atmosphere, you're seeing the sights, you're hearing the sounds, you're smelling the smells. When suddenly you see someone you like. Now here are a couple mistakes that people make. They either get super shy, they start diverting their eyes to the floor, they quickly walk by their intended target, completely missing any opportunity to connect with the guy. This, of course, never yields any results, so make it super clear that you are into him, which actually brings us to the second mistake, the overly handsy guy. Now, this guy is the opposite of the shy guy. He's gonna march right up to somebody that he's into and literally put his hands all over the guy and totally get up in his business. Throwing yourself onto somebody without any foreplay is really discouraged. Now here's a foolproof way that'll really have you winning. Whether or not the guy's into you, you'll come off looking like a star. As you approach somebody that you're into, slow down, look at them in the face, and make eye contact. You gotta get his attention, right? Giving a little smile says, hey, I'm a friendly guy. And you stop a couple of feet away from him and you try a little small talk. Now, if that goes well, you can start to inch closer, but make sure to steer the conversation towards something fun and sexy and not the fact that you were like laid off work recently or your cat just died. Keep it light, keep it fun, keep it sexy. The small talk is important because this is really when you're gonna find out if he has any attraction to you at all. Somebody who makes eye contact with you and smiles and answers your questions is probably interested. But if he's looking away or he doesn't answer you, it's probably best just to move on. For the sake of this video, let's just say that things are going well. Don't stand there and talk too long. This is also key. At the sauna, it's a scientific fact that a gay man's attention span decreases by almost 50% due to a spike in the part of the brain that thinks that the grass is greener. Now, if you didn't understand what I just said, I'm gonna say it another way. Guys are fickle and always on the prowl for something better. So if he shows interest, lock it in and bring him back to your room. And let me know down below, what is your technique for snagging somebody at the tubs? Now let's move on to rejection. I know it's not a fun topic, but we gotta talk about it, okay? Being rejected is never any fun, but it's part of the whole experience. Like, it happens literally to every single person, so don't give yourself a hard time. Being rejected only demands that you accept it with grace and dignity and move on. Whereas doing the rejecting is a whole other bag of dildos. Now let's say somebody comes up to you and is obviously into you, right? But you're not feeling it, even though he's literally feeling you. Here's what not to do. Do not go overboard with the messaging. People are typically super sensitive around rejection, and there is no need to jam the message down their throat of how uninterested you really are. Unless, of course, he keeps at it. Big gestures, hurtful words, and making a show of it and making a scene is insensitive and rude. You aren't in any physical danger, he's not hurting you, and his judgment might be a little bit thrown off by poppers and porn. Here's a little rejection technique I picked up while go-go dancing my way through most of the US. On a go-go box, you have a limited amount of space. There's nowhere to run. So when somebody comes up to you that's like extra handsy and they're not tipping, you need to deflect that energy in a way that doesn't offend them or make a scene, right? The technique I'm gonna share with you works just as well at the sauna. So the next time somebody you're not into approaches you and they start feeling you up, you just look them in the face, you smile, you take their hand, give it a little squeeze, and walk away. The smile you give them is important because it's signaling that you understand where they're coming from, you're not angry, you get it, we're all here for the same reason. Squeezing the hand makes a smoother transition than just like swatting it away violently and quickly walking away. And then of course, walking away signals to them, hey, this ain't happening, I am leaving. Don't follow me. Now this is gonna take some practice and the guy might even try it again, but you're gonna get the hang of it and you'll get the message across and nobody gets hurt. Now, if he keeps going, then you can escalate your rejection techniques, obviously. Let's start small. So now you know how to approach somebody and how to reject somebody. But what about some basic bathhouse signals that people send out? Like, what are they saying? What does it mean? What do they want? How do you react? What are you supposed to do? Let's start with the first one. It's the open door. So someone who's sitting in their room, if they're watching porn or they're on their phone with their door open, whatever you do, don't just barge into somebody's room. It's their space, even if the door is open, so respect it, respect that, or expect to be thrown out pretty hard. A better way to approach this is to stand in the doorway, the same as approaching. You're gonna smile, get their attention, start to make some small talk, and it's gonna be pretty obvious pretty fast if they're into you. Now, if you're talking and you're laughing and you're making small talk, these are all good signs. If he waves you in, then you're good to go. If he starts to close the door with his foot, then you know it's time to leave. Another version of having the door open is the door open and he's face down. Now this guy is not interested in small talk. He's only after one thing. Now in this situation, it's completely acceptable to just enter the room and do whatever you want. So you're just gonna be reading his body language. If he pushes you away, he pushes you towards the door, says no, you need to respect this, and you need consent. But if he's lying there, he arches his back, he spreads his legs, you're good to go. Proper etiquette when you're done is to leave the door open. I mean, that's how you found it, right? Finally, we have the guy that's sitting in the video room. Now this guy is super smart because the screens in that room offer enough light that he can see people's faces as they're coming and going. Also, it's usually a high traffic area. So if you see something that you like in the video room, sitting down, watching the screens, approach as you would anywhere else. Slowly at first, you get the eye contact going, you do the little smile, sit next to him. In this case, you don't have to talk too much because a lot of the porn is going to be very stimulating and you don't want to distract from the stimulation, you want to add to the stimulation. So in that case, I would keep it actually more physical. I'd start to move closer, as long as you're getting those green light vibes, put your hand on his knee and just go from there. And eventually you might want to suggest going to your room unless you like putting on a show for others. In that case, just stay where you are and disrobe. Of course, if all of this is much too much for you to think about and you don't want to worry about any of these things, just go to the dark room where rules do not apply. I hope this video gives you a little more confidence and gets you a lot more action this Pride. Now excuse us while we celebrate a job well done.